Dartmouth's Danny Blanchflower calls President Obama's appointment of Alan Krueger, speaking of jobs, as his chief economist, a stroke of genius. Danny is an economist and a Bloomberg contributing editor. He's formerly a member of the Bank of England's interest rate setting committee, and he's in Hanover, New Hampshire, to join us this morning. Danny, thanks for coming on the program. Let me ask first of all about this jobs proposal, because it strikes me as you know, the president's going to talk about jobs the week after Labor Day. He's putting in Alan Krueger right now as his new chief economist, who is famous for jobs. You say this is what this guy does.
Right. I mean, obviously, we're going to see a speech by Obama on Labor Day talking about getting America back to work, if you like, trying to create jobs. And if you're going to do that, you need to get the best person in there who works on unemployment, who deals with this stuff. This is the best young economist we have in the United States. So Alan Krueger, I think, is a fantastic appointment. He's worked on unemployment and wages and quality of schools and how the labor market works. So he has a fantastic background. He's got experience in the government. He was chief economist in the Labor Department. He's been in the Treasury. I think he's probably the best young prospect the United States have to get a Nobel Prize. So this is the guy, if you want to focus on jobs, this is the guy to get.
And obviously, I mean, when you're hiring a chief economist for the White House, you don't do it without talking to the guy ahead of time. Do you think that the White House has been in touch with Krueger on Obama's jobs plan, on the speech? Because it makes sense, if he's a labor economist, why, you know, put out your grand plan before bringing in the guy who's the expert on labor?
Well, I think you would expect so. I mean, he was in the Treasury Department until the beginning of the year. He's been working on these issues for a number of years. You would certainly think, in the discussions about whether he's going to take over the job, you would be talking to him about how the labor market works and how he thinks about the labor market. He's been pushing, I know, for job credits and to try and think about extending unemployment benefits and dealing with the unemployed. So you would certainly hope that and expect the administration had been talking to him. And if I was in Obama's position, he would be exactly the kind of person I would talk to and bring him in. So, you know, let's assume he's going to get confirmed. How long that will take, I don't know. He's been confirmed before in the Treasury. So this is the guy you would certainly want to work on this. And you'll probably find amongst economists across the country there'll be support for this guy because he's just a very high-quality chap.
Danny, what do you think he's going to do first? Let's just assume confirmation, because as you've alluded to, he's already been through the process. But we heard Bernanke in Jackson Hole on Friday basically take the ball and give it to the Obama administration, saying, I'm pretty much finished. Now it's up to Congress, it's up to the administration to act. Then we hear about Krueger being nominated. So what's likely to happen? What's coming down the pipe?
Well, I don't take your view that he says we're pretty much finished. I think the Fed he said it still has tools that it can use, and the meeting's been extended at the end of September. And
but he did say Congress has to do more.
No, I agree with that, of course. He says Congress has to do more. And if you're the president, you do realize that, in a sense, if you're going to go into the election in 2012, you're going to have to get unemployment down. So I suspect that's what we're going to hear from Obama. We're going to hear essentially a response to what Bernanke said about you need to do short-run stimulus, and we're probably going to hear about some more infrastructure spend, some subsidies for jobs. I mean, it's very much what Bernanke said. It's also what actually Christine Lagarde said, that you can't compromise short-run growth for longer-run deficit reduction. So in some sense, it's going to be a focus on how do you get jobs created again in the private sector. And in some sense, it's trying to say, it'll say to the Republicans, this is what we're planning to do. Come with us. We need to create jobs. And probably, if you think of it, give subsidies to firms. It's going to be hard for people to hire people. It's going to be hard for people to vote against that. So this is a challenge about how you get this stuff implemented. But it's about, and I do think the right way to think over the next year, and it'll start from September the 5th, is Obama and Alan Krueger are going to focus on jobs, 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 as they should.
As they should. How heavy-handed do you think Krueger is going to be allowed to be? As you said, it's one thing to have a plan, but then the second step is implementation. And we saw with the debt ceiling what a disaster it was to get anybody in Washington to work together.
Yeah, right. Right. I mean, obviously, the politics are going to be hugely important, but you need a smart person who understands how the labour market works, and you need a realistic and sensible plan. So that's why you put the best folks in there who understand how the labour market works. And the question is, get yourself a good plan and hopefully then deal with the politics. But Alan has a good background in reading and understanding the data and presenting the case, but he's also got a background within the government and was chief economist in the Labour Department. He's been involved deeply within the Treasury. So I'm not saying I know how this politics will go about, but the American people want unemployment to come down. So let's get a plan and try and get other people on board. And it's it's a worthy goal, and it's private sector job creation. We should all be on board for that. That's something the American people needs to see, and we should try and support this new appointment.
It is definitely job creation, probably has bipartisan support. The question is, how do you get there, obviously? Danny, we appreciate you joining us today. Danny Blanchflower,
surely,
Bloomberg contributing editor and economics professor at Dartmouth College.